As cursed as I may sound, I've lost the first recording where I mentioned everything about the jungle scene. I'm fucking fuming, so I've got to redo it again. So basically what happened is the government are trying to do away with all the underground jungle. That includes the Detroit minimal techno, the house music, the Euro trance. Look at React Records going to Resist Music and all their back catalogue, which includes albums or mixes like Laurent Garnier's Laboratory Mix CD or Carl Cox Fact CD or whatever. All this stuff's gone. Everything in the 90s, all the underground sort of music that was in the 90s is gone. So let me get to the story, shall we? Right. So the Jungle Techno series is one of the ones I did this video in this same place yesterday, and I've got to redo it again because I keep messing it up. So basically, right, the Jungle Techno series consisted of 8 albums between 1992 and 1995, which was produced by Passion Music Limited, Jumping and Pumping Records at 81 Crabtree Lane in London. Where obviously they don't exist anymore, but they did release some good albums. And because the company's gone under and whatever, so do the recordings. They can't keep the recordings when the company goes bust. And because nobody else holds those recordings, and because it's not mainstream to a point where it's got in the top 50 charts or whatever, top 100 charts, or is not on the international music database, that means that when this music goes, it goes completely unless you can get hold of a second-hand album. And if you can't get a second-hand album or get the tracks off the internet, this music's gone for good. So anyway, you had Jungle Techno 1, the first original instalment, which was released in 1992. There wasn't a single good track on that CD. Every track was a load of crap. Every single track. Jungle Techno 2 is compiled by DJ Classy, and they sped the tempo up on some of the tracks to the proper tempo that it should be, and it's mostly rave jungle rather than jungle. So it's stuff like DJ Mike Slammer and Red Alert and tracks like that. So like rave music, sort of cheesy, sort of jungly rave music of 1992 basically, maybe touching into what was played in 93 as well, but a lot of these tracks were produced in 92. So that was titled Jungle Techno 2, Happiness and Darkness. When we came to Jungle Techno 3, this is where the proper jungle was going on the albums on the Jungle Techno series, and the first out of the lot is where Phil from Basement Records compiled Jungle Techno 3. So it's called Jungle Techno 3, Drum and the Bass, A Way of Life. And there's quite a few good tracks on that album, which are deep jungle tracks. When we came to Jungle Techno 4, there was tracks like Ascend and Ultra Vibe, What Kind of World, Area 39 Attitude, A-Sides and 91 Tonight, and what's the other track that was good? I've forgotten the actual artist, but it's a Bare Necessities tune. It's Attitude, the track's called. I think it might be by Area 39, I'm not sure. Well, that's not a bad track. So you had some good tracks on Jungle Techno 4, Intelligence and Technology. When we came to Jungle Techno 5, the deep side, that was a really, really good CD. You had Studio Pressure, which is listed as Photech, Resolution. Then you had Brothers with Soul, Music is So Special. Rough with the Smooth, Twisted Girl. Van Cleef, Jeephead, Close Encounter. Then Van Cleef, Life Began Changing. However, it's listed as Peace in Our Time on the actual CD cover. Then you had Urban Wax, Rolling Intelligence. Then you had Ray Keefe, Dubplate, What's My Code Dubplate. I can't remember if it's a terrorist mix or whether it's a final plate mix or whatever, but it's that track. Then you had DJ Chrome and Mr. Time, The License. Then you had Basement Phil doing a track called Flying, and it's a remix. Then we had, what's the other one? I can't remember what the other one was. DJ Chrome and Mr. Time, The License. I'm not keen on that one. Then you had Steve C and Monitor, The Razor's Edge, which is another good track. On the record, it lasts a bit longer, and the second part of the record, because it ends at just over 4 minutes through, or I can't remember, just just well, somewhere between 4 and 5 minutes through. It's not very long, but there's a second part to it, the proper 12-inch version from the CD. That is, it might be different on the cassette release, it might be different on the LP release, but the full version of that is quite good. And also Full Cry, which is on the flip side, is another track which is not bad, by the same producer. Then you have what's the next track? Original Substitute, Can I Dream, uncut dub. I'm assuming it's Outstanding Recordings, I'm not sure. And then obviously after that you have Fast Floor, Tripping on Sunshine, but is listed as The Change. And it's also on the flip side of Timeless, and Timeless is a really good jungle track which I mentioned earlier. So that's Jungle Techno 5, the deep side, CD Top 20. I think the catalogue number is, and I remember it very well because there's one CD I've been trying to get for many years, and then eventually I got it around about 2003 or just after. So Jungle Techno 6, Fat and Futuristic. It's got a few good tracks on there. You've got Subsequence, State of Mind, Maticus, Born Free, and DJ Invincible, Maticus, sorry. And there's a few other basic tracks. It's not sort of one for the really good tracks, but the way it's compiled and the sort of tracks that are on there, it's still quite a good CD. But Fat and Futuristic is spelt different. It's spelt PH rather than F. When we come to Jungle Techno 7, the musical style, that was sort of more of a love sort of album sort of suggestion in the music tracks. You had Dillinger and Mystery, Deep Love, which is an in-between track. Original Substitute, Fall Down on Me was good. I think that's Essence of Aura, but it was also known as Original Substitute. I had a few other good tracks. It wasn't an excellent album, but it wasn't a bad album. It's definitely an album that contained good music on there. Jungle Techno 8 is another favourite of mine. Even though it only had 4 tracks, they were really good tracks, although 3 in particular is the main ones I go for. So you had the Appaloosa Unplugged, Chaos and Julia Set remix, which is track 9, Bliss and Tumble Free Me, which is track 6, and Intense Ecstatic, which is track 1. So that's on Two's Up Recordings when that was released. And you had Every Day on the flip side on the vinyl version of that Intense record. Intense is one of the best producers when it comes to jungle music. As I was mentioning earlier, with that Paradox track on Rugged 7 and Intense Time Space Continuum on the Genesis Project EP Rugged 9. So that's that. Like I said, I've just mentioned something that I mentioned earlier. I was meant to say that you haven't got there yet because I've had to redo this recording, but never mind. I don't want to keep messing up on this recording, so I'm going to leave it at that. So there was also another couple of good albums, and that's Basic Elements. I used to have that CD as well, which is bass, then a little dash, and then IC and Elements. But there was really only one good track that I liked on there, and it's Atomic Dog, Future Now. All the other tracks on there I didn't really go much on, but they were listenable, some of the tracks, as a part of the basically it's a Jungle Techno 9, in other words. It's not, but you could see it as that, look at it as that. And then after that they released the CDB Top Box, CD4 and CD8 I think it is. I think that's the catalogue number, I'm not 100% sure. For Drum and Bass 40, Drum and Bass Floor Burners Volume 1, and then you had the same for Volume 2. They're both 4 CD sets and they're really good CDs. So again, this music I just mentioned, a whole lot of that is all down the drain, because the original recordings, even the album recordings, because they saved the albums, not just the actual single tracks, they saved the albums as the actual recordings itself, as the albums. The whole lot's gone. Everything, the whole lot. The Hard Leader series, gone. The Jungle Massive series, starting with HFCD 42, Jungle Massive 1, gone. Ultrasound, This Is Jungle, gone. Jungle Business Volume 1, gone. No matter what it is, all the jungle albums of the 90s, if it's not commercial, it's gone. I forgot to mention that almost every single track on Jungle Techno 5 is a really good track. You've got Studio Pressure, Resolution, Brothers with Soul, Music is So Special, Rough with the Smooth, Twisted Girl, Jeephead, Close Encounter, the next track, Van Cleef, Life Began Changing, however it's stated as Peace in Our Time on the CD cover, Urban Wax, Rolling Intelligence, I think it's Ray Keefe dubplate, Terrorist Mix, one of the Terrorist Mix is, I can't remember which one, or the Final Plate Mix, I can't remember, and then it's, you had, what was the other track, I think it's Basement Records, Basement Phil Flying, I can't remember, and then you had DJ Chrome and Mr. Time, The License, somewhere on there, then you had Steve C and Monitor, The Razor's Edge, what's the other one, Original Substitute, Can I Dream, Uncut Dub, and Fast Floor, Tripping on Sunshine, but it's listed as Fast Floor to change on the CD cover. So you had some really good tracks on. The only real track I didn't really go much on was The License, but it is listenable. So it's not just those CDs that have been duped. There are other CDs you're never going to find again, and that's Jungle Business Volume 1 on Scratch Music Recordings, which is a DJ label that did, which had mostly DJ Crystal, Code Blue and all that on it. You're never going to see Jungle Splash Takes You Into Jungleism ever again re-released, because obviously the original recordings are gone, or the record companies have gone under, and when the record companies go under, the recordings go with it, and because it's not completely commercial and not saved in like the international music database, and because it's been how do I word it, regretted by the government in the new music law industry, within commercial boundaries and music. Although it's in the public domain, it has been commercial. There are certain tracks they need to do away with. The government are tightening up. The first restriction came in on the 2nd of May 1997, when they banned the use of using sampling from old bits of music, which included the Aim and Break, which is from a Northern Soul record, which I used for one of the drum breaks in jungle music, the Winston's Aim and Brother, which is on the B-side of a 7-inch single that was released in 1969 of Colour Him Father. So you've got that. Other CDs that have gone, you're basically looking at all the stuff in the 90s. The Jungle Massive's probably gone. The Ultrasound, This Is Jungle, which is the one with the good tracks. A good track, 2 good tracks on that album. On Jungle Massive 1 you had Undercover Agent Rougher Part 3, and then obviously on Ultrasound, This Is Jungle, you had Dillinger Deadly Deep Subs remix, and you also had Ganja Crew Cops with Johnny Jungle VIP mix. They were good tracks as well. But those 2 CDs are gone, the original recording's gone on them. There's a couple of commercial tracks on those, by the way, so the very scarce few. Whether they pass the net, I don't know, but if it is, it's going to be stuff like M-Beat Style from Jungle Massive 1, and Original Nutter possibly from Ultrasound, This Is Jungle. You're definitely not going to get the other tracks. So there's the Hard Leaders series. Hard Leaders 4, 5 and 3 are pretty good. The recordings to them are gone as well, and obviously there's many different tracks that are gone. I could give you lists of my top favourite tracks, like Rev P 1994 on Impact Records, Imp 22 label. It's got Rhythm Process on the other side, but I don't like that track. And that's like a Bell 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 tune, which is a sexual sort of track, done in a way to the Flip, which is 1994, which I like, which goes Beautiful Woman, do do. So that's a good one. Then you've got Nutty 1 off the Nut EP, which has Underwater Fireworks and Liquid Affray. But unfortunately, the original DAT was lost on that one, and when Night Force Records reissued it, they reissued it with taking it from a record, and they forgot to clean the record, and it sounds muffled when it comes to the end of the track on both sides. So then you've got Legendary Volume 1, Spinback and Guanji Execution with Deep Concentration on the flip side, Legendary Volume 3, Lee and Guange Too Deep, and Lee and Tango Solutions on the other side. Their tracks that are gone. Making Ground, Take Me Higher. Rago Mix on Rude Boy Recordings, which is a Photech record. So Rupert Parks basically has produced that one. Also the Anthill Mob 123 Adrian Blunt remix on Underdog Recordings. That's gone. Intense Paradox, which is on Rugged 7 EP, when you've got Journey to the Unknown and The Quickening on there, that's gone. Also Rugged 9, which is Intense Genesis Project EP, which has Time Space Continuum, The Dreamer, the Dope remix of The Quickening, and The Dreamer, if I mentioned that one. Every track on that specific record's good. The Alliance First Impressions was initially released on Legend Records as a acetate 10-inch press in 1993, but then Reinforced Records released it on their Enforcer 6 EP in 1994, and that's a good track as well. And there's another good track on that specific record, and that's Wax Doctor the Saint Simon Templar remix. So that's just a few tracks. Code of Practice, Infiltrate, and Can We Change the Future were good tracks. They're gone as well. The Criminal Minds, Jump the Gun. Smoke Eye Scientific is another one on Section 12 Recordings, that's gone. Noise Factory Dream, all the versions of that track are gone, which is on Kemet Records, but Strictly Underground Records have put it on a couple of their compilations in the 1990s. Pesce World of Music, Infrared Records, is another one that's gone. That was released in 1994 with Amon Reprise and the remix, I think it is, of J Magic Sunray on there as well. But I only like the World of Music track. The Four Horsemen, Drowning in Her, was another good jungle track, which is on Tone Deaf Recordings, released in 1993. That's another record that's gone. Mental Power, Unknown Intelligence on Formation Records, released in 1994 on Control EP, with Cool and Sexy and Dream Sequence on the flip side, or whatever. That's another track that's gone. DJ Ratty, Source of All Evil on Formation Records, released in 1994, has gone. And same for the DJ SS remix, which is the Pink record. DJ Fallout, Storm Warning EP, with the Ripper on one side and Love Me on the other side. The Love Me track's gone. I'm not sure about the Ripper, but the Love Me track has gone. There's literally loads and loads of tracks I could go through, which are no longer available, or where the original DATs or recordings or master copies are gone, because the government changed the laws within the music industry. So there's certain types of music that they don't like, and it's like new age music, dark ambient, dark classical, old school jungle that's very deep, and same for old school techno. I'm not talking about the ravey type of techno, I'm talking about the Detroit, the minimal, that sort of techno, the sort of dark techno, and obviously other music genres as well. But when it comes to these sorts of categories, because it's underground sounding and it's mostly been underground music, it was appreciated in its day, but times have changed, music laws and regulations have changed, so the government have done away with all the back catalogue of music like that, including most of the house and trancey stuff that was on React Records, which later went to Resist Records. And they released albums like Laurent Garnier's Laboratoire Mix CD and Carl Cox's Fax CD back in its day. So the music that the government want you to listen to is basically hip-hop and rap, although that's not a choice, that's because it's big in America. That's the reason they want that big in the UK, because they make money on it. Otherwise they wouldn't allow that sort of music. The next sort of music they want you to listen to is country and western, rock, heavy metal, pop music, and what else? Modern club music, maybe modern drum and bass as it sounds today. Drum and bass and jungle are not the same categories. There are several other jungle tracks that have been destroyed or defeated, or where the original recordings are lost. The only way you'll get these recordings by the original press that was initially released. So that's Guange New Creation, the Alliance remix on Legend Records, which was later reissued on Sublogical Recordings. Pesce Warning on Reinforced Records, which was released in 1993, but I think it was produced in late 1992. A.B. Kane, Strange recordings on Rough Guidance recordings. Busy Bee and Deluxe, Take a Deep Breath, original dubplate version on Brain recordings. And The Freaky, Abandon Me, I think it's mixed one, I'm not 100% sure, but there's two versions of it on a record. One's a nice soulful version and the other one's a chattery version. I like the soulful version. That's on Hyper recordings, that's another record that's gone. Satin Storm, I think I'm going out of my head. I think that's a Satin Storm recording, I'm not sure, but that's another track that's gone. Dope Travelling Part 2 on Good Looking Records, but it's half rugged vinyl because they're basically Good Looking Records did some sub promos or whatever on rugged vinyl back in that day. I think that actually came out in 1993, I'm not sure, but if not it's early 1994. DJ Panic, Revelation and Daybreak on Hardline recordings, both of those are good tracks, but I prefer Daybreak and that record's gone as well. Also Gapper G and Hyper Information Centre on Rough Cut recordings, that's another one that's gone. I think it's Tears of Joy on the other side, but I don't like that track. Parallel World, Contagious on Good Looking Records, which is produced by Andrew Ritchie. That's another excellent jungle track that's very deep, that's been taken away. The two best tracks that are on the Jungle Business Volume 1 CD I mentioned earlier on are Coda Space Tech and Orca Intellect, and both of those tracks are lost. Orca Intellect is definitely lost because there's a lot of discussion on the internet about people trying to scare us and scrape up a recording because they wanted to reissue that specific one, and when they didn't want to reissue it, they could only put it on vinyl, but I don't think that ever got through because they lost the original that recording. When I mentioned the Jungle Massive series earlier on, I was referring to the Labello Blanco chapel recording ones. I can't remember the actual company actually. Like basically Jungle Massive 1 is HFCD42 for the catalog number, which was released on LP and cassette. But the series that's under that catalog number is the series that's got the tracks that I mentioned, and which ain't rid of. Dar Dogs, Non-Stop, Prime Time, Wax recordings with Cooler Operator on the flip side. The Non-Stop track is gone. There are a few lucky jungle tracks that have survived, but obviously they're not going to be here forever because they're going to get rid of these because I know that the type of style it is, and I'm not music that the government like people listening to. Hyperon Experience, Disturbance Tango Remix, Moving Shadow Recordings, which has now been reissued on Life Force I believe, and the other one is Lifting Spirits, Will I Dream on Lifting Spirits recordings. Smith includes Palominio, there's another 1993 record that's gone. From the man like Pennywise, Suspension of Disbelief on Symphony Sound recordings, that's another track that's gone. Mystery on the flip side was quite a good track as well. Sponge and Pascal, known as the Full SP, did a track called The Process, that's another track that's gone. The New Jazz Hustlers, I think it's Tales from the Unexpected or something like that, on what's it called, Urban Street Collective, that's another good jungle track that's gone. Omni Trio, Through the Vibe, the bongo mix, which is a specific mix that was on Omni Trio Volume 4. It was a light green record cover. But that specific mix is actually gone. They got the 2-on-1 mix and the other version, but when it comes to the bongo mix, that one's gone. There's loads of jungle tracks I could go on listing, you know, which is basically similar or very good sounding like what I just mentioned. But it'll take me a long time, and obviously I don't have the ability to do that today because obviously I've got to keep on battery as well. So we'll start to sell 150 verticals and then initially another 50 in a matter of about 3 minutes trying to take a picture of an old-fashioned signpost. Choked by Catalyst, there's been a lot of black and blue sick, knife shaped, gun shaped, basically a murder looking and whatever, and I'm being choked by catalyst to start with. Drains hit over time as I pass each drain cover, so it's not all bad at the moment. FBD Project Journeys on Banging Tunes is a destroyed track. Ease Up by DJ Divine and Essence on Production House Recordings is gone. There's lots. Screwface, I've forgotten who done that. It's a certain version of it. Oh, is it Dubtronics? I can't remember. I've forgotten. But it's not the Screwface that's on the CD, it's on the B9 Recordings album. And it goes like this. But I can't remember what version it is. DJSS Anything Possible on Formation Records is gone. DJSS The Rollout on Formation Records is gone. International Rude Boys featuring Matrix Area 39. That's another track that's gone. Same record company. Flynn and Flora String for String on Flynn and Flora Jungle Love on Full Cycle Recordings. That's another track that's gone. Ronnie Size and DJ Die, I think it is, or The Call-In, the original version that came out in 1993 or 1994, which is on B Recordings or Full Cycle, basically it's the same source. Rough with the Smooth Twisted Girl on Basement Records used to be one of my top favourite jungle tracks, got even back in the 1990s. Fast Floor Timeless on Smooth Recordings, which is a Basement Records recording, is another good track. And a lot of these tracks I don't even have because obviously the issues that have occurred over the time, you know. In fact, all of them basically as good as. Earlier on I mentioned a jungle track called The Alliance First Impressions, which was initially released on Legend Records as an Acetate 10-inch promo before being properly released in 1994 on Enforcers 6 Reinforced Records, where there's two sections of that track. The first part of the track sounds like a cellar and bats flying around, and it's quite a deep, low, trancey type of part to the beginning. But when we come to the second part, it has the same piano sample that is used in a track called Way Out West, The Gift, at roughly 2 minutes and 46 seconds through onwards. So I thought I'd add that information, and that specific track is one of my top favourite jungle tracks of all time. FBD Project Deep Dance EP, there's a track on there that's, I've never had the record, but there's a track that says I am normal, I am clean, I'm not frightened, I won't scream, and I had it on a cassette mix back in the 1990s called Dance Trans Fabio. I'm not sure what mix it was, but it was on that specific tape. And it's like a dark type of track that sounds like a haunted castle. Well, that's another track that's been destroyed. Chaos and Julius set Fear the Future on Recoil Recordings was released in 1993 on Natural Highs Volume 1 and 2 record. Even that track's been destroyed, and that's quite a big tune back in its day on the rave tapes and whatever. FBD Project, She's Breaking Up, and FBD Project The Core, which is, don't need to mention that one because it's on the Hard Leaders 4 CD, but She's Breaking Up is another track that's been destroyed. Marvelous Kane did a track called Dubplate Style, which is on Drum and Bass Selection 3 or 4, I can't remember which one, and it's on the Ultimate Jungle Collection Dino Entertainment Recordings in 1994, which was a big CD that was sold back in that time. But believe it or not, even that track's on the verge of going as well. And Omni Trio Renegade Snares Foul Play Remix, which is one of the biggest tunes of in the jungle basically. And Dead Dread Bass. The Torchman, Tell Me, on Face Recordings is another track that's gone, the remix of it, or if it's Told Me, it's Tell Me. It's Tell Me, it's Told Me, I don't know, it's one of those tracks. One's a remix and that's a good version, and one that's more soulful, that's another track that's gone. Lemon D, Something I Feel, Wait on the Bass Mix is another track that's gone. That's another, I can't remember the label, but it's a good track. Johnny Jungle Twilight Mix, again that's a 1992 or early 1993 record. That's another dark jungle record that's gone, I can't remember the label. Terry Mullen Deluxe EP, I'm not sure what the track's called. I think it's on Absolute 2 recordings. I think it's side A mix 2. But it's a track that goes, it says something like this: personal genocide, starvation, then we're seeing things are getting worse. I think I'm not sure what the track is or the exact wording, the lyrics are in there, but that's what I think it says. Another good track that's gone is Kenny Kigo, K-Time EP, but there's a specific track on there that was released in 1992, and it's got that jingly drum and bass effect of just as it was developing into jungle. Another good track that's gone is Scott and Keith, Deranged Part 2 on Reinforce Records. I could go on forever listing tracks that are good, that are jungle tracks or ravey jungle. There's only a few ravey jungle ones I like. I'm more into the deep technological underground rare groove styles and the sort of trancey Victorian sounding, old fashioned sounding sample breakdown parts, you know, that sort of jungle. But anyway, I'm going to give you a list of what commercial jungle is, and all this commercial jungle, I can't stand it. So I'm going to list those tracks now. All the tracks that I just mentioned are basically tracks that I like. They're jungle tracks, but they're dark, they're underground, they're deep, they're trancey and whatever. But I'm going to give you now the stuff that's in the charts, which is basically the only stuff you can get if it's jungle in today's time, because the government have tightened up on the music industry. They are M-Beat, incredible. So M-Beat featuring General Levy is basically the track that goes wicked, wicked, jungle is massive. Baby D, Casanova. Baby D, Let Me Be Your Fantasy. Baby D, I Need Your Loving, Everybody's Got to Learn Sometime. And anything from Baby D basically, and Baby D's basically a load of rubbish. So the next track is Anything But the Girl, Walking Wounded. Again, that's a load of rubbish. Alex Reese, I Feel the Sunshine, another crappy jungle track. Goldie, Inner City Life, another crappy jungle track. And basically tracks like that. So that's what commercial jungle tracks are. Anything that's underground or deep, or what I've just mentioned before I mention this list, is basically folded under, is gone. The original recordings are gone because the government don't want it. The government only allow commercial music into the mainstream. This is all because of the new regulations and laws regarding modern society, modern music regulations, and what I was mentioning earlier on this recording. Right, finally, now I've mentioned all the tracks, all the music and whatever else, I want to get to what the government are doing and all the rest of it. So basically the time's come where we're in a modern age and music has to change with the times. And so all this underground stuff or sub-recorded commercial stuff of the 90s, even though it's in the public domain, is all been folded under. So it's not illegal to buy it or illegal to have, but it's illegal to reissue it or repress it or sell it commercially to the public. And all the original recordings of all these sorts of tracks I've been mentioning has gone completely. So unfortunately, because of the change in the times, I mean, it started even in the days when jungle was coming out, you know, the 2nd of May 1997 was the start of all this, when they were putting copyright on the aim and break, and then obviously sampling from other people's music, which was approved back in those days, which is not allowed anymore unless you pay for the copyright. Most DJs don't want to pay the price for using samples, and obviously there's restrictions in modern times where they're not allowed to even use older samples to produce modern music. Then we had another rule come in 2003, and it came in at a time Scooter's music was coming out, making the suggestion of this specific genre. The Scooter is against jungle music, this pop group. So it's a German techno pop group that is against jungle music, and did a load of tracks at that time to try and force people out of that specific genre as a government foundation of controlling the music industry. Anyway, now I've mentioned all my sort of favourite good jungle tracks and the stuff that's all gone, I'm going to give you the crap that's in the charts and the stuff that I don't like, and is the only jungle you're ever going to see in the future. So I'm going to make that list for you now. Right, so I've mentioned all my favourite jungle tracks and whatever throughout today. Obviously, there's going to be loud noise from traffic, so you might not have been able to hear some of them that I mentioned. So you've had stuff like the FBD Project, Intense, Pesce, you know, Baby Kane or whatever. But anyway, we're going to call this to a close. But before I go into a close, I'm just going to mention the issue with modern jungle and why it's never going to be available again. Now, it started on the 2nd of May 1997, where they banned the use of the aim and break and obviously sampling from old people's music. And you now have to pay for it. But I think there's a new rule that goes beyond that in recent times. But that was the start of Jump Up Drum and Bass when they closed the jungle scene down. People were changing the jungle scene since about 1995, but it wasn't until 1997 it came to a sudden stop and they had to change it completely into Jump Up Drum and Bass, Neurofunk, and whatever you want to call it. And then obviously that was the end of jungle, because jungle and drum and bass are not the same genres. Jungle is jingly type of drum breaks with heavily influenced with soul. When it comes to the commercial tracks, there's a lot of reggae or ragga samples mixed in as well, and there's a lot of rare groove, a lot of depth, and a lot of dark, chilled out samples, and a lot of new age meditation influences when it comes to old school jungle. And you usually got a hard sort of bass shaking bass line with, like, as I was mentioning, the fast jingly drum beats. With drum and bass it's slightly different. You've got computerized bass lines or distorted bass lines done in a warpy type pattern to sound modern, with the sort of sound of drum beats. Well, initially when it first went into Jump Up, it sounded like a sweeping brush sweeping across the floor type of drum beats. So the breaks were slightly different to what they are now. Obviously that's changed again. It's gone into a more sort of disco-y sort of style, and you don't really have the actual jingly pattern in drum and bass anymore. It just sounds like a different genre altogether. You wouldn't recognise it jungle between drum and bass. So people that haven't heard drum and bass, that knew what the jungle was back in the 1990s, would just see it as a total complete different type of music. Also with drum and bass, it has more of a punch to it. It has more of a kick to it. You haven't got the soul in drum and bass that you have in jungle. Drum and bass is very aggressive, sort of very... there's a lot of nasty... I don't know how to word it, but a lot of nasty, gangstery sort of influences. And there's a lot of rock, heavy metal influences with some sort of the kind of 1992 sort of synthesizers maybe here and there, but a bit more up-to-date sounding. So it's very difficult to explain. And obviously the layout's different. There's a different layout to jungle as well. But anyway, going back to the subject of jungle, let's just mention what I wanted to mention, because all this music I mentioned, all this 90s jungle, the good type of stuff that people refer to, that's all gone. Now, not everybody likes the type of tracks I'm into, but there are a few that do. So now, shall I come to the end of that? I now need to mention what commercial jungle is. But before I go any further, I do not like commercial jungle tracks, and I'm going to give you that list now. That list is M-Beat featuring General Levy, Incredible. That's a track that goes wicked, junglist massive. Now, there's not a track I really like that much, but because it was on Now That's What I Call Music 29, and I remember playing it in my dad's car many years ago, I have to give it some credit. And the fact that it was on a couple of dance trance mixtapes that I used to have as well. One of them was Rat Pack. I'm not sure what the event is, because I'm only familiar with the Dance Transmission Control event, as I used to have these jungle mixes in this like dribbling head tape cover with two triangles on the back of the tape on a purple cover saying Dance Trance the Future. But I located that most of those tapes that I had were Mission Control when I was buying them at a Tech Check record shop in Bridgewater in 1994 and 1995. But anyway, if we skip that, let's just go on to the commercial tracks, shall we? So the first one is M-Beat featuring General Levy, Incredible. Then you've got Baby D, Casanova. Baby D, I Need Your Lovin', Everybody's Got to Learn Sometime. Baby D, Let Me Be Your Fantasy. Alex Reese, I Feel the Sunshine. Goldie, Inner City Life. And finally, Everything But the Girl, Walking Wounded. Now there are other tracks that are commercial that are jungle tracks, but they are the crappy jungle tracks that I've just mentioned in that list there. Anyway, I'm going to bring this to a close, and if you have any comments or want to mention anything about these tracks or my documentary, please leave it in the comments below. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. I thought I add this bit of information to the end of the video because a lot of the people that used to listen to the old school jungle back in the 1990s actually went into the club scene of the sort of late 1990s club tracks, a bit like DJ John the Launch, ATB 9pm Till I Come, York The Awakening, Alice DJ Better Off Alone, and Liquid Child Diving Faces, and you know, tracks like that. So a lot of people sort of left the old school, but you still had those that went into the happy hardcore scene or those that liked happy hardcore. Most of those that listened to happy hardcore moved on, progressed onto hardstyle and so on. Some of them didn't even go into hardstyle. I do know one person where it was mentioned recently in a conversation between two rough people. These weren't bearded types, but they were people that used to listen to happy hardcore in their day, and they were having a conversation, and they actually listened to Bob Dylan and Whitney Houston. So it just shows that people's music changes, you know, are quite dramatic. And they just say that the old happy hardcore stuff is children's music. When it comes to that specific genre, I have to admit it is more of a sort of teenage, sort of young person's music. However, back in the day, it didn't stop people as high as their 30s listening to that sort of music. And when it came to old school jungle, I recall people in their 40s, 50s listening to that type of music as well, and pretty hard looking types of people in their 50s. So it's but jungle was much more serious sounding than most other genres of music, and it had a darker touch with a deeper, heavy, atmospheric boundary than most other genres of music. But anyway, most people that listen to jungle, just people that didn't go into the modern jump up drum and bass stuff after May the 2nd 1997, would have just gone into just pop music and stuff that I just mentioned, like Whitney Houston, Bob Dylan. It seems to be a sort of regular sort of pattern for most people that used to listen to that music. But a lot of it is also due to people getting in relationships with a girlfriend. They have children, they listen to their kids' music, they listen to that, and then obviously eventually they just go into the mainstream of everything. So there's hardly any people left that actually listen to my style of music at all anymore. So it's worth mentioning. I just wanted to add that to the end of this video. Thank you for listening to this documentary. Goodbye. Right, it's the 11th of April 2024. We started off with about 1,000 setups, like black and blue cars, sick cars, choke by catalytic converter setup, Somerset Waste partnership and Snap-on, ice, smashed, blood, looking miracles, knife in the heart, knife in your head sort of suggestion. Many different evil suggestions like that persistently. And obviously the sun's come out and it's a blue sky sunny day, so they lied on their forecast. So we had all that. I had setups to tell me that you're a sick cunt because you won't fancy an old granny on a Zimmer frame or tomato type ketchup face. Making the suggestion I'm a sick bastard if I don't fancy someone who looks like she's got warts. Laughs in a backwards laughing way in an unhygienic goofy suggestion, which I nicknamed the Tops, and to suggest that you're supposed to fancy a lady that has tomato ketchup all over her lips and dribbling out her mouth with unhygienic unbrushed teeth, with misted up glasses, greasy hair, black hair and fat build. If you don't fancy that type, I'm being nailed as a sick cunt and they're getting absolutely aggressive, and I mean really fucking nasty about it. So we've had that set up. We've had a setup to say that you're supposed to be with people older than people that sexually abused you as a child, and when they're making a suggestion like time to look like someone who sexually abused me as a child, time to an erection, followed by a baby being bounced about in a sling or whatever, they're basically telling me no problem. They're telling me that's not a problem. that, you're looking at about a good 500 setups with about with 1,000 cars included, but not all the 1,000 cars were 100% set up to every single car. So after that, when I get off the bus at Yeovil, firstly there's a man on a bike wiggled at me, doing a sexual swallowing a cock move at me while angling the bike into me. Car time smashed into me and then forced two cars to choke me by catalytic converter. Think bike, sticker in the car, whatever it is. Scooter at me but over a drain cover. A bow whistled up. A couple of loud bikes timed to an erection. Phlegm coughed at me. Cell call made at me. 7 sneezes at me. That pissed me off, so I was going to church and going to use that loo to wash my face. Dropped my shopping because I coughed at, and then sneezed at directly after I sneezed at. After I go to Iceland. And a wet hard cough at me and sneezed at again. Light blue sexual car motorbike behind. No, light blue sexual motorbike, sorry. And a brown gun looking motorbike. Seagull says bus. Bono about our bikes. Bikes up right on car roof. Trimmed coat van. Sick grey, well, whatever, usual cars. Purple, red, gold. Penis import and pulse, so goes up loud bike. The sun is out, by the way, so it's been sunny for about an hour and a half, full sunshine, but it was initially cloudy and I managed to get the pictures via the sun curse, but I made it only just when I go to the pictures. I've got to check them later on. Child blessed, a fool justice said by an animal. Black and blue, red, sick, Zelco, antics van, bonus and motorbike, swing your daddy van, followed by a cess van, private hire van, knife-shaped black car, mighty van, bonus and motorbike, MMI van, Scott van, a brie, brakes lorry, crooks lorry, barn fire, no, barn filled, vehicle, John Prong lorry, plural to long gone, and about another 300 black, grey, sick, white, black and blue setups while filming this bit of information, reading out the sheets of setups that have already occurred. The government know they can get away with doing these setups, so they're getting nasty about it. So firstly, brakes lorry and crooks van, 23's upset, bonus allowed bike and motorbike and bike. After that, more bikes, delivering van, the night van, Kex bag, Wayne lorry, time to an erection, another loud bike, before that, R&W Langley van, Setways partnership, night attack van, child rakers van, Euron X, power clean van, ride van, 100% bleach van, Fenny van, Fencer van. Why? Before we go any further, if you want to talk about people getting their spiritual feelings out of each other, they don't want to fucking start Wayne business because that's not NA. Old OLD, so old van, and someone wearing a top saying worthless bastard. Right, car time to smash into the bus. As I get off the bus, it upsets the driver as well because the government are pissing about trying to knock me off. Carrier lorry and slicker van. Well, we've got that smash you to pieces rubble flatbed smasher, the tables have turned van, and a sexual looking car. The government know they can get away with it, so they could just step it up like this. This is what they just done. So we've had the Hags van, message to you van, Purvis van, just in time car, a Langford's van, but it's a different Langford than the Langford construction van, sick white car, Rico lorry, smashed glass, blood looking Clearview van, and a jumper that looks very similar to the Street Fighter Turbo but more aggressive. And I can't remember what it said on the t-shirt. I didn't actually look properly because the writing's in a sort of not easy to work out wording. I've had to come off the main road to make a quick documentary separate to the one I'm doing now. The setups are fucking getting nastier and nastier. So we just had an aggressive fighter top which was being worn by someone in a car, dealing with it van, which is a service control van, and then a RAA van, RAA, and little Baxter van. Right, been choked by a catalytic converter with several hundred cars. Hammer's van, Tough Nails lorry, trying to smash into me. Crow says child molester, repeatedly. And just before this, someone took a photograph of me in a car. While there's a quick gap of no traffic, I'll quickly mention the next stuff. Somerset Waste Partnership, penis up. So motorbike shot dead, child molester said. And this is the first hot day of this year, so you know when the summer's coming because the temperature changes. Well, today's probably the first day, 11th of April, is the first day of the really hot weather coming in. It's about 22 degrees Celsius out here, and I'm starting to sort of sweat a little bit. Well, I'm soaking wet in sweat, believe it or not, because of the hot, sunny, blue sky weather. Well, we just had a picture of a chained up man with the arms and legs being ripped off, with one arm and one leg actually ripped off, but with a chain showing in a suggestion to apply being ripped off. Right, so I'm being forced to be soaking wet in sweat because the government are deliberately causing that fucking sun to come out. It's been out all day nearly, and I'm gonna get pissed off at it. Apart from the first little section this morning, where I got off initially at 9:30 AM roughly. I got off at Marston Magna to that signpost. The sun was in the distance, but it wasn't causing any issues where I was. The actual position or the direction of that sun actually changed because it was going the other way, and as I reached Marston Magna there was a twitch in the sky causing the opening cloud and causing the whole sky to reverse back in the other direction. So the wind direction changed, bringing the clouds and open sky towards my direction. And then since that time, it's basically been, well, I've been lucky with the cloud. There's been a bit of cloud when I wanted to take some pictures, and I managed to succeed with a couple. But apart from that, it's been basically the last 3 hours has basically been, well, just under 3 hours has basically been sunny. Right, so I'm soaking wet in sweat. I've had to take my coat off. The hood is on my head. I'm just dangling the coat down below. It's just blue skies and sunshine. Extremely hot. Considering we're in April, it feels like the middle of summer. Back in the 1990s when we used to get cooler summers. This is really fucking hot. And that sun makes it even worse. It's not a yellow sun anymore. It's a white sun, and the sun's just a different ingredient altogether. It's just bright. It's very hot. There's nothing you can do about it. Crow says you're too old for a girlfriend. Perverse van and Perrette van follows after. Crow says no one left. Spit talking in my face. Started cars. Blue knife shaped. Crow says no one left. And a couple of cars down there. Blue sick. Black sick. Someone's played that hip hop track or whatever track it is in the car again. Passing me. It's a very big track. Basically says earning a living and enjoying sex with a sexual beauty. Right, I spoke to my mum on the phone. It clouded over, believe it or not, around about the time I spoke to my mum on the phone. And straight as I come off the phone, within 30 seconds the sky opens up to blue skies and sunshine. So there we are. Anyway, several motorbikes tying to a direction while speaking on the phone. 4 more after that. A load of car increase after that. Grey, sick, white, boner, next motorbike, white and whatever. Nothing too drastic at the moment, but enough to annoy me after an annoying day already. Choked by catalysts, Crow says all bird tweets a child molester, but very clearly as if someone's speaking. Crow says molested Ian straight after. Crow says shot dead child molester. That's an ear-shattering loud bikers coming up here. I've accidentally fucking deleted the motorbike. However, you can hear the motorbike coming up. It's a blue sexual motorbike, by the way, and I photographed it, so I still got that evidence. Crow says breaking. Knife you down. You're being raped as a baby in your next life, said by an animal. Unfortunately. And I'm not making it up. Right on the road ahead, there was an Izzy Crowley van and a police car, and obviously about 20 other cars, usual pattern, about 80%. Dead paedophile said, I don't think that was said, but the person who's speaking, it came out in that interpretation. Aqua heat van, and step little traffic on, I'll go get in the side. Bring back executions written on a car window sticker, and vapist van, but it's spelled, if you were to spell it with an R, it would suggest or say rapist. For sake. Right, Marvellous Creations van, paying the price bingo van. That's not playing the price, paying the price, because there's two. It's not the same ones that I used to see in Bridgewater or the occasion when I was living at Burnham-on-Sea. This is a different van. And, what was the other one? Right, I've been interrupted with a Watson van and another vehicle with one light out. I'll tell you what the name of the van is when I remember it. Yeah, it's a certain spelling, an interpretation of served time. I can't remember what it was. If I see it again, I'll try and photograph it. The fucking battery went flat, and I was just about to photograph a van saying the devil's work, and that's in big writing right across the whole fucking van. Right, last 5 minutes or so, 10 minutes maybe. I've had to go in the field because obviously I'm getting a bit pissed off at the traffic flow. Well, we've had a no sex sticker in a car window, and I failed to photograph it. Daisy's car. It makes a Sadie suggestion, but it's a police car, by the way. So you can look at it like that. And then Rapid Removals van, and about 20 other cars, 80%, not too heavy as far as the cars go at the moment, but I'm not happy about the rest of it. Person only about aged 18, 20 has photographed me, but there's been no threats or no negative suggestions, but worth mentioning. I don't need this on the last battery of the camera. Right, so we've had dead Justin Wells 6 said from somewhere, and Granny's for You van, followed by 3 blue cars, and then a 4U van. That 4U van is the number 4 and the letter U, and it's not the same as the Granny's for You van. It just came in the same order straight after the Granny's for You van, which is with the same formula, the 4 and the U. I'm going to film this. This is a Michael Winehouse van. I just want to mention something, going back to the music from earlier, just to let you know that when some of the more commercial tracks like Omni Trio, Renegade Snares, Foul Play Remix, Dead Dread Bass, or Renegade, The Terrorist, or Marvellous Kane Dubplate Style, or whatever, as these sorts of more commercial tunes get older and older and rarer and scarcer, they become more obscure, which means that you appreciate the more commercial sounding tracks than maybe what you would have back in its day when you were hitting out all the underground tracks and only liking the 1994 tracks in particular. So that's quite a nice, change to realise that some of the more commercial stuff can be looked at as a more underground setting in the modern time as the years go past. So they're quite good tracks that I just mentioned. Although they used to be quite commercial, they are getting rarer, and when you consider it to today's music and the fact that I do like those tracks anyway, even back then, it just goes to show that some of the jungle tracks have really played a good part over time. What's on lorry again? What's on lorry for another time? A yellow car, choked by catalytic converter stench. It appears to me that with some of the setups that are occurring more earlier, sort of first time when I went out, is making a suggestion of this specific child on YouTube that's had a rapture dream. Now, I don't believe in rapture dreams. I don't believe that God is Jesus is the Son of God. But basically, there's one that's titled something like this: Rapture Dream, little girl rapture dream, April 2021. And this girl is 6 years old, and she sees Jesus in a dream, or she goes for an out-of-body experience where she leaves her physical body and basically has communication or connection with Jesus Christ. Now, like I say, what's in kids' minds is young, and obviously they can get muddled up and whatever else. But I'm one of those that just don't believe in that sort of stuff. But it seems they want to apply that specific child out of all the Rapture dreams that are on YouTube for some reason. They seem to be really sort of... Reynolds Beats, I think, is a YouTube channel or something like that. But either way, why they suggesting that specific one? Anyway, I'll leave it there. I don't know who this person is, but this person's only about, what, 18, maybe 21? Adult, but a young adult. Well, she's got cut marks, like knife marks, all over her arms and body. She's wearing light clothing because obviously it's a bloody hot day. But, yeah, I only looked at her and she called me a sick bastard as I walked past, or a phrase in that term. So, she doesn't even know me, and she just said that as I looked and then walked past. As I said before the fucking battery goes flat, if someone throws a fist at me, we'll deal with it in a manslaughter fight. So, first of all, it's a case of if someone goes down, for example, if I go down, then it requires a knife to be smashed into that person's face, and then the rest of his body before being injected to fucking death with weed killer. Like I said, fights mean murder. When a fight takes place, I said this many times before, when the fights take place, it goes into murder these days. If a fist is thrown, let the first fist go, and if the fist continues, you've got to prepare for murder in any fight, in any situation. If we're in a different time, and that's self-defense, even if it's murder. You've got no choice. That's the way people are today. Not every single person, but most fights. Not like people who are in schools under the age of 20 or whatever. They fight like scrap or whatever. But when you reach a sort of an adult age and you left school, or not, and it's not in a college sort of ground and it's in a different place, fights are more dangerous nowadays. So if a fist is thrown, you've got to prepare to play murder. I don't want to put it like this, but that's the way it is now. Dog barks dangerous pedo, Justin Langford. How typical is that? Someone's wearing a t-shirt saying fights require a weapon and violence. How typical is that? Just 3 minutes after I mentioned what I mentioned, or a bit just after that. I've just checked my camera. Believe it or not, I've actually managed to photograph that t-shirt. So I'll be putting that with the photos of my daily problems when I stack them together in a photo collage later on this evening and put it on the internet. I have known Sir Abbas to be quite nasty at times in the past, where I've been mistaken as a Savan. Today's a sort of moderate day. It's not bad, but there's been a few things that I said. About 2 minutes after the a fight requires weapons and violence t-shirt, which I managed to photograph, someone says, Savan, he's dead, paedophile. But unfortunately, that was said, directed at me, when my name's not Savan. Sheep bear sound comes out, unfortunately, as to say, no, he's dead. Pedo, I fucking beat him up, said. Yeah, that's alright, because if I get beat up, we'll involve weapons, smash a fucking weapon in his, knife his fucking face apart, fucking inject him with weed killer, takes life. So what? That's a fight. That's how we fucking work these days. Oh yeah, I'm getting a bit pissed off about it. Yeah, this bearded fucking mouthy cunt thought I was Savan, so he said that. Basically what I just said. Right, there's only 2 houses at the end of this fucking road. Each time I've gone to go to that road to go back to where I want to go to, bang goes catalytic converter control set up. How it goes, oh no. So like saying shot dead HIV, and then I'm choked by catalytic converter with another fucking car that's coming up here where I'm sitting, or was sitting before I came back. Dry bearded person has said you molested her, burglary, dar. But it's said in this dry and sarcastic, nasty, modern, snobby fucking accent. Next week he's not fucking here, he's dying. Said. The small animal says break in, like this. Break in. Like a shiring squeak type sound. Fuck the sun t-shirt. Yeah, I could say the fucking same thing. It has been sunny all day, I'm not being funny. And I've also failed with the picture I wanted to take earlier because the sun's out, so I'm just pissing about doing absolutely nothing, waiting for the bus. Talking lands up me again while the dogs are playing in the stream, and she needs to talk as I pass. Right, drains hit over started car, drains hit red sex car, drains hit star van, inside and out van, PON van. Phone rings up, he started car at the bus stopped, I got to wait up, so I got to be forced to be choked by a catalyst waiting for the bus. Spit talking flies in my face, got no choice but to stay with catalytic converter, waiting for the bus. Right, knife-shaped choking catalytic converter stench mims van and drains it over. There's been more cars than I'm mentioning, but there's only been about 70% suggestion. That is at least for the time being at this minute in time, not for the whole day, obviously. Gun looking thing on car roof coming my way now. In a puddle I didn't see, a car deliberately drives through there to try and get me wet. Right, so after pissing about with a load of setups, feel hot, van, grey, I've forgotten what it was, forgotten the motorbikes for erections. Black with white and sex van timed, dark red, scooter my way, boner, bikes, spikes on lorry upright, and straight after that, bike upright on car roof, and heavy setups on top of that. Obviously there's time to write it all down, but yeah, not very fucking happy about it. Car trying to smash me up, motorbike trying to erection. That goes catalyst and sneeze, that car drives over, the drain will cover it over.